What is it?
Well, it's called a randomizer, and it's fitted to the guidance systems and operates under a very complex scientific principle called potluck. Now, no one knows where we're going. Not even the Black Guardian.
Not even us.
So, hello and welcome to the Randomizer podcast. It is episode 42. No. There's nothing you can do to sully the number 42 for me.
I wasn't about to.
I bet you
was
were.
just saying probably the greatest number in all realities.
I'm suspicious, but okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, well, this time spoiler warnings for all episodes of Doctor Who.
Jesus.
Up to and including Joy to the World. And the War Games in Colour. Spoilers for Jekyll, the Stephen Moffat series based on Jekyll and Hyde. So have you been, Chaz?
And the War Games.
And the War Games. Well, that came under the first one.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
Of course it did. Sorry. It's been so long since I've done these. Tim's off with his other wife doing other ones, so...
Hey,
What?
I'm polyamorous.
Yeah, well, you know.
All right.
Joseph Smith was right.
About so few things. Hello to all our Mormon friends. Jesus. I actually got some Mormons at the door. It was several months ago now.
Brilliant.
I must have told you at the time. But they were just really lovely people.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
I feel bad actually telling them to...
It's like,
you know,
what a waste of a
go
perfectly
away
intelligent
and,
young person. But,
deluded,
yeah.
no.
Anyway, and we'll have more about unnecessary religiosity. And they're talking about Joy to the World.
Yeah, but talking about Mormons, I watched Heretic recently.
Oh, this is the thing with...
Really good.
What's his name?
Hugh Grant.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, very. We'll need
I've been watching a couple of Shudder films. There was a brilliant one called Stop Motion where there's a stop motion
you
maker.
were telling me.
Yeah.
Have you seen Skinamarink?
Yeah, I don't think I enjoyed it much.
A lot of people seem to like it and a lot of people seem to not like it.
I think it's because it keeps making me think of like Skinny Malinky Longlegs or whatever. I
Yeah,
think.
that's exactly what it reminds me of. But anyway.
Not sure why that should be an impediment. But.
Anyway, welcome to the Shudder podcast.
Yeah. Well, certainly people shudder when we say we're going to release an episode, so here we go.
Well, I do.
So, welcome to, if I get it edited in time, our second episode of the year, and it's very likely to be our last, but hopefully we'll do better next year. And yes, just it's lovely to be back talking to ourselves again.
Yeah.
So,
I really, really do love the sound of my own voice.
yes, I love the sound of your own voice too. So, shall we talk about Joy to the World? It was the Doctor Who Christmas episode.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
You were just...
Oh Jesus Christ, this is so half-arsed.
Oh my god, it's not even like quarter buttocked.
Right.
So, Christmas Doctor Who. Stephen Moffat writing it. And Nicola Coughlan guest starring. So, do you want to lead off? Because we have not actually had a chance to catch up and hear what each other thought of it yet. So this is all going to be fresh.
I loved it.
Great.
I really liked it. I thought it was... Connor said something really interesting, which was it had finally given a sort of decent, maybe slower pace to it, where it was allowed to breathe. There was a lot of conversations, which is always, I personally like in Doctor Who, rather than running about mental all the time. The hotelier in the sort of standard hotel where he had to spend a year with was absolutely lovely, and I was actually quite emotional about it because she was obviously very infatuated, but not just that, a lonely person who was life had been enhanced.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. Joy was just such a great character, and yeah, Stephen Moffat certainly didn't pull any punches when it comes to basically calling the Tory government a bunch of cunts.
Well, I mean, nor should you. There's a slightly problematic reading that it's like, well, I may as well have been there, but that wasn't the right thing to do either. I mean, obviously it's anger at having done the right thing and then that being treated with complete contempt by the people imposing those rules. The problem is that a lot of people's response would be, well, they don't respect these rules, nor do we. So, but that's not really the problem with this.
I think
episode.
her feeling guilty and saying that, she failed and all that, that's a natural response to grief, because no matter what happens, no matter what you do in the circumstances where somebody dies, you always feel there's something you could have done.
I liked it. I liked it a great deal. I loved Anita and that whole arc of Shooty taking a year. It was just the breathing space that Connor was talking about.
That was lovely.
Yeah. And I liked Trev. He was sort of endearingly hopeless.
God, yeah.
And I was properly sad when he died. But Nicola Coughlan, I felt, was a bit underused. I mean, she had the one big rage scene, which was brilliant.
She sort of was a little. I mean, she's a great actress. I've seen her in Derry Girls and Bridget, and I really, I think she's fantastic. And yeah, she was slightly underutilised in this.
It was the shape it needed to be.
Yeah, I think it sort of was to emphasise a lot of other points. At first, it took me a few minutes to kind of work it out in terms of, what she did. But I actually think it was very smaltzy and all that Christmassy sort of thing, with the star and all that.
Oh god, that last shot, Bethlehem. Fuck's sake.
I think that was just... No, I think that was more taking the piss because it was a scientific thing rather than an inspiration from God or something. So I found that quite funny, to be honest.
I thought if there even was a historical Jesus, the records were very conflicting about when he was born because of things like when Herod was around and stuff.
But it didn't say it was the 25th of December back in the year. 00.
Well, it said 1.
Okay.
There wasn't a year
1.
0, I think.
All right, well, 1 then. Yeah. It could have been any time, back then.
Who knows? And it could have been, could have been a star over a town and thus myths start. But I'm just like, oh...
Yeah, I know, I get it. But, it was
probably
my
Doctor Who,
June the 1st or something. Whatever.
Definitely looked like June. It was clearly
exactly.
warm.
It looked pretty warm. I'd say there was a lot of sand about, so people were probably celebrating Christmas on the beach or something.
Yeah, it was very pretty. And...
It was, and as I say, it was supposed to be slightly controversial, and the reason for that is that the star is a scientific event. It's like
supernova.
It's not fucking, oh God decreed there was going to be a star.
Well, I mean, and also
anything like that.
Clearly the people of the time weren't to know that it was a exploding Northern Irish woman. It's like, but I thought
that could be iffy. An exploding Northern Irish. So, are you basically saying that the provisional IRA tried to destroy the first Christmas?
The Christmas troubles, they called it.
Bloody
my
hell.
fucking god! Stay tuned, listeners, to something else. I thought that the whole thing with the suitcase, once it established that once the suitcase lets you go, you're dead. Then the moment it grabs Nicola Coughlan, or Trev for that matter, you've got proper jeopardy, and it's really tense. That was really good. Was it slightly MacGuffined that she got out of it without fizzling away? But
well, I mean, he basically said about anger and breaking the
conditioning.
Conditioning,
yeah.
Because everybody else had obviously been very passive because they'd been taken over by the thing.
And it was really enjoyably kind of mysterious and sinister and kind of what's going on. The Silurian actor looked very familiar.
Yeah,
despite the green
from
scales.
Sherlock. He was the pathologist.
Oh, okay.
In the first series.
Well, I feel like I might have seen him in other things. as well.
He's been in a few things.
Yeah,
he's very good.
Yeah, so we're just calling them Silurians now. There's no Earth reptiles or anything like that going on.
Call them anything you want, really. I suppose.
He was dying. You wouldn't say.
I'm only going Silurian because
that's
really that's
Shooty
what
called him
called.
that to his face. That's all it's
Yeah,
just like. So there we go. Cool. Well, and a little glimpse of Millie at the end, which was nice.
Oh yeah, I forgot
and
about that. She got top billing as well.
no, she got an and at the end.
Oh, did she? I thought
Yeah.
she got top
She was
billing.
not in the titles.
No, I meant in the cast at the end.
Well, it was
Yeah.
Millie Gibson as Ruby Sunday, and then the cast list. Yeah, and then a trailer for season 2.
Very short.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of
good.
those ones I'd probably need to watch on pause.
Yeah, me too as
Because
well.
I noticed very little. But it did look quite good, I
It
will
looked,
admit.
if I got an impression, it looked slightly darker in tone.
Yeah.
But then maybe they're just picking all the dramatic bits out.
It's probably not that, but I did see, I'm sure I saw 2 robots that reminded me of Mitchell and Webb.
The one, yes, I got
yeah.
the same impression. They were sort of quite colourful,
Yeah.
chunky armour.
What was it, dinosaurs in a spaceship? Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Or the ones from the
Husbands
Bill Bailey
or
robot, or
whatever.
whatever it was.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
quite chunky as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
What was that? The Doctor Widow in the Wardrobe?
Oh, West mentioned, but that was better.
I don't see why people hate that one so
Oh,
much.
that's fucking awful.
Okay. It's got Alexander Armstrong in it.
Don't care. It's got Claire Skinner in it, who I, love,
Yep.
but I still think it's shit.
What else is she in? Outnumbered.
Outnumbered.
Yeah. And she's in an early Stephen Polyakov as well, which is
Yeah.
with Matthew McFadden. It's a good fun episode. It rattled along really nicely. I think. A couple of nice little Easter eggs. Don't know if you saw them. So in the hotel, you get a fleeting glimpse of a costume shop for the patrons called Mr. Ben's. I think it was apparel for all times and places or
Yeah.
something like that. But did you see also that the bar was called the Tambles, Time Traveler's Wife?
Oh, right.
That's their
yeah.
surname.
Apparently, I had heard that he'd put a few.
Put a wee reference in there.
Yeah.
But it's appropriate. Time travelling hotel and the Tambles bar.
Yeah.
And there
And
might
he
be
might
others.
as well, because he's done the Time Traveler's Wife about fucking 400
All
times
his
by
life.
now.
Could have got that plot into press gang, he'd have done it.
I can be very unforgiving of plots that don't necessarily make any sense, but I do have a slight caveat with Stephen Moffat because
They do make sense, we're just not clever enough.
there are a lot of his plots, that do make sense. There are some that don't, although, I may not understand it. But what he always does, even with ones like that, is they're so fucking entertaining and so enjoyable that I'm not bothered about that. If you do a story and there's plot inconsistencies, but it's just not that enjoyable, then you're going to
Then you
pick
got
on
time,
everything.
yeah. No, arguably
So-
the job is to charm your way past the nonsense.
Yeah, and I feel he does that 9 times out of 10, and this
9
was...
times out of 10.
Yeah. This was fun. This was a nice Christmas Day bit of fun with a few digs at certain, certain things, which good, definitely deserved. But in general, it was fun, and it's also one of the best performances I've seen from Shooty.
Yeah, and a different range to it because it's an expanded time scale for the episode. So that was breathing space, definitely all helpful and appreciated and enjoyable.
Connor said quite a nice thing as well. He was saying, for once we actually see Shooty being quirky and Doctor, like weird. Coming out of TARDIS in the dressing gown.
Yes.
To get milk, and I've got a subspace algorithm that homes me in on milk, or I could get a fridge, And the thing when he was in the other hotel for a year, and he's doing the fucking Sorcerer's Apprentice on the steps and stuff, it's like, we haven't really had enough time to see things like that, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, the collection of various TARDISes was cute.
Yeah.
The main prop that they focused on was, I'm pretty sure, the actual Dinky toy. It's just, I inherited one from my dad. It's a lovely little. It's a toy of the police box rather than of the TARDIS. because I think the Dinkies go back to the 50s and so on.
Oh, yeah.
It's just such a treasured object for me, because it was always special to me as a kid,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a Doctor Who merch. It was
Yeah.
just coincidentally a Doctor Who merch. So that was
It's quite nice.
And I'm sure there was like a ceramic one in the collection that Shitty had as well.
Yeah, I
which I've
think
seen somewhere.
It might be like the mug you bought
might
me
be.
for my birthday.
It's like it's taller and thinner than it should be. The proportions are wrong, but
Yeah.
it
And
just,
the windows are all off.
yes, exactly. But, and I like just the kind of the simplicity of. There's a slightly cheeky line as well, isn't there? About there seem to be loads of them on sale on eBay. So just you spend a year in the real world where Doctor Who's a TV program that was merchandise.
It's very difficult to tell, I'll be honest, but
Yeah.
who knows? Yeah, I really genuinely quite enjoyed that. You know, he's sort of just doing this normal, everyday stuff. you know,
Just
in his own way.
again, it's that thing which I actually didn't feel uncomfortable or weird about it at all. But I've mentioned in the past that when the show lets serious real world time pass, it always feels odd or transgressive or unusual to me. And it's definitely done it a fair amount in the new series. And that mode of storytelling is definitely something that Stephen Moffat likes, from Girl in the Fireplace and so on.
Absolutely.
But it just fits, and it's just like its own vignette within the kind of bigger story. Typical of Moffat's genius, that he manages to have a bomb counting down essentially, and still pause us for a year while he does something else.
Yeah.
That's very clever.
Yeah, and like when you got to see the scene of her talking to her mum in the hospital, that reminded me of something that happened within my family.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are many people that have got similar stories.
It's far too easy to just make jokes about Partygate and to kind of forget the sheer arrogant effrontery of those fucking clowns just contemptuously doing whatever the fuck they want.
When people
Barnard
were
Castle
genuinely...
to Paris. When people were dying and dying alone, and it's, you know...
Yeah, it's fucking horrendous.
And I think we can't let that go from our consciousness. There's far too much kind of... I think it's why I gave up on Private Eye, actually. It's like there's far too much kind of just satire that doesn't bite, or, you know, haha, look at these silly things these buffoons are doing. And then suddenly the buffoon is Prime Minister. Yeah. And the damage is real, you know?
Yeah, of course.
It's...
and they're still trying to trivialise it when they get caught, you know, just saying, oh, well, it was better than...
It's like, now I'm off on my book tour, haha, what a lark, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely right that we should be angry about that, and a little nod to it in a joyful Christmas fantasy programme isn't going to change anything, but it's going to keep us aware.
It definitely does.
Yeah,
and it's,
you know?
I suppose, controversially, the bit with the mother turns into stardust, and some people might, but... I was quite happy with that, because, you know, I mean, technically she'd become a star, so I mean, it's like trying to question logic within Doctor Who, you know.
Pass through glass.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a little bit
it's kind of
out
nice
there, but
yeah, it's a kind of pushing of the envelope to wrap things up nicely and give it a sense of hope. Yeah, because Joy has a line shortly earlier when she says about "I'll see her again," and you're just like, "Oh God, really?"
Yeah,
but actually, she's right. Yeah,
that works out slightly better.
Yeah,
you know? I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun, and it was exactly what was needed for Christmas Day.
Yeah.
There's just one massive problem with it.
Oh no, what?
I sat down to watch it, and as has happened for the last 5 consecutive Christmases, or New Year's, if you want to go there, I fell asleep.
What?
Yeah.
So have you rewatched it since?
I watched it because I only saw maybe about 3 minutes of it at most.
Goodness.
I watched it later that day because Iz and Davey watched it. You know, we were all watching.
So you're full of dinner as well.
Corner, and it was stuffed. So they all watched
they'd
it.
miss a golden opportunity to wind you up and say, "I can't believe they killed the Doctor."
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean,
I can't believe the TARDIS is now shaped like a
a
Bentley.
urinal.
Yeah, that's better.
But no, they'd watched it obviously, but Davy and Izzy watched it with me again. Izzy wasn't as keen, but she said she liked it on the second viewing.
Interesting.
So
Maybe the snoring put her off the first time.
very probably, because people, Bronte did say, he said, oh, because I said, oh, I think it was Davy said, what do you think? And she goes, what? Do you think he was thinking anything between those bouts of snoring? But
This is exactly why I don't watch Doctor Who for the first time with you. That was joy to the world.
man, it was joyful.
It was joyful. Yeah, well, that's what Shitty brought to Anita, was joy, I think.
Yeah, I also
And a job.
when he was really being horrible to her and stuff.
To joy, yes.
Yeah.
It was Ace and Fenric, isn't it?
So yeah, I mean, I knew what he was doing, but my God,
He was good at it.
felt,
Yeah.
it did. You could see how much it was crushing her.
Yeah, great stuff. Hooray! I saw somebody on Blue Sky described it as Stephen Moffat's last Christmas special. I'm not sure if there's any kind of announcement to that effect, or maybe they just meant
I
latest.
just hope not.
Yeah.
I mean, my sort of hope for the show is that the next showrunner, is someone who is good at drama, etc., but not
Scottish.
a fan.
Not a fan, okay.
I mean, when Sally Wainwright was mentioned as possible producer,
What's Sally Wainwright's?
Happy Valley,
Right.
stuff like that, I was really excited because I thought, she's a fantastic writer, and it doesn't matter that she's not necessarily a Doctor Who aficionado. There are plenty of people to steer in the right place in terms of the past.
I don't know.
But I think, drama is drama.
True, but Doctor Who is its own beast. In many
I
ways.
agree, but
And you don't want it in the hands of someone who'll just completely ignore the past.
no, I don't.
But also, I guess the balancing act is that you've got an awareness of what's been before, but you don't let it rule you.
But we'll say it was run by Wolf Studios, so you might have RTD as a
Like an
overhead.
exec, yeah.
Or Stephen Moffat. I mean, Stephen Moffat recently admitted that he had been sort of unofficial exec since, before Ruby Road.
Right, yeah. Next, we have season 2. When's it broadcast? Do we have any idea?
Russell, I don't know, I think he was promoting the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
And, they were saying, oh, season 2, when, blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, it's already, and it's coming a lot sooner than you think. So,
I think it's coming today.
I mean, I think it'd be nice to see it in March again, but I mean,
Was that
earlier.
last year?
No, it was
Was it
late
summer?
May, and
May,
you know.
Sooner than you think is
Yeah.
probably not the same time as last year, if
No.
we decode that earlier than last year.
Yeah,
Um,
that's why I'm thinking
yeah.
maybe March.
The only thing for me is just it widens the gap to Christmas, assuming we have Christmas again. So.
Yeah.
But hey ho.
We've also got Land and the Sea thing
What is
next
that?
year, I think, the spin-off.
Okay, yes. Is that?
War between the land and the sea, sea
So is-
devils and
Yeah.
all that.
So has that been shot or?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Well,
That's
exciting.
got Ruth Madeley, Russell.
As what's her name?
Yeah,
The unit.
and Russell Tovey, and it's also got can't remember the actress who played Martha's sister, Tish,
Oh yeah, Tish. Don't
but
remember her
she's
name.
not playing Tish in
right,
this.
okay.
So.
The we did get a glimpse of our new companion, just very brief glimpse.
Oh yeah.
In the trailer, but yeah, actually, I've only watched it once, and so very little to say
Yeah,
about
I'm
it.
going to sort of watch it on the laptop and try and pause a bit just to see
Yeah.
if I can, you
Frame by frame analysis. That's
Yeah.
the fandom way.
Yeah.
Lovely.
A man is the sum of his memories, a Time Lord even more so.
So we weren't only treated to Joy to the World over Christmas, we also had the War Games in colour. And by a marvellous coincidence, that happened to be what we had picked for our Your Cheating Memory randomizer rewatch last time. Mm-hmm. So, Your Cheating Memory is the part of the show where we have randomly selected an old Doctor Who episode using the wonderful randomizer.net, which is a website that generates a random Doctor Who story for you. And yes, well, of course, the way this happened was, although this was like about 6 months ago, we couldn't finish watching it and record a new episode until the BBC had A, commissioned, and B, completed, and C, released the War Games in colour.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, funny how that works, isn't it? Yeah, so that's the only reason for the long delay between episodes.
Yeah,
the only reason.
Obviously.
Absolutely. So we'll talk first about the original, because we damn well slogged through most of it before we heard there was going to be a colour version. I may have laid my cards on the table there. What do you think about the War Games, Chaz?
Yes, I agree. If you're, especially the way we watched it, you could definitely do, we say, 4 parts taken out.
Yes, careful what you wish for.
But if I'm sort of just watching it for entertainment, it's a Sunday afternoon one for me, and I'm happy to sit and watch all of it, because it just takes the day up, and it's sort of comfort sort of viewing.
Yeah.
In terms of the way it works, first couple of episodes really good. The next few, there's so much padding. It's
Escape, get caught. Escape, get caught.
Yeah, but it ramps up, say, in the last 3 episodes or so. Once you start getting more involved with what's going on, and from the appearance of Philip Maddock, it really gets good.
Yeah,
my God, that man is.
He's such a breath of fresh air in the villain side, because up until then you've just had
James
endless,
Bree
tedious
with his
back and forth
staccato
between
statements.
the two sort of antagonistic antagonists, and it's just tedious. But yeah, I struggled. Partly, I think, because we'd smeared the watching of it over 6 months. And so,
I don't think that helped.
no, not at all. But nonetheless, it was just like, I mean, I've seen it before, and I acknowledge its historical place, but it's just kind of slightly interminable. So I don't have any detailed notes, really, just lots of little bits to mention. But
the mistake is we made it seem longer than it was, because we only were watching
like one at a time at first.
One at a time, which obviously, that drags out.
Take a leaf of your book and just sleep through some of it.
Yeah.
Again, it's that thing, if you don't get another first time, and for us who weren't alive to watch it on broadcasts, imagine the excitement of the Doctor's people, and we're going to meet them, and we've had the monk.
It does really get interesting.
I mean, that alone would have kind of, not sure when the first mention of it is. It must be around episode 6 or 7, is it?
Yeah,
a bit earlier.
Yeah.
But from that point onwards, you'd like edge of your seat. You go, come on, next week. To have been in that position and to have had that excitement and experience would have been glorious, I think. Yeah. And then I don't know, does it deliver, do we think?
I do think it does deliver.
I was specifically talking about in the denouement, though, with the Time Lords.
Yeah.
So we get Time Lords mentioned, and that is the first time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had the monk, but it was never named the species. But we do not yet get Gallifrey mentioned.
That isn't until the Time Warrior. That's the very first time it's mentioned.
So, it comes in little drips and drabs.
Yeah, it's a bit the way Russell T Davies done it, because if you noticed that he talked about Time Lord, blah, 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 but it wasn't until Voyage of the Damned that Gallifrey got a name check. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, there's something to be said for that, because I think you do get a kind of a bit of an info dump.
Sorry, Runaway Bride.
Gotcha. Okay.
Then he mentions in the thing Gallifrey and the constellation of Cerberus.
I'm getting a kind of term for obsessing about the constellation of Cerberus is casturbating.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Anyway, oh god, it's that illiterate use of constellation. It's like as if it means anything except from the viewpoint of Earth, but perhaps he's saying it for Earth people. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
So, things that stand out for me about the War Games. Zoe being threatened by a man wearing a large viewfinder. Remember those things you plugged the discs into?
You mean the virtual boy?
I mean those red things that.
But it also looked like the VR Game Boy.
Oh, I never saw that.
Ah, yeah.
Right.
It was one of Nintendo's disasters.
Right.
A bit like the Power Glove.
They said it looked too much like the interrogation device from the War Games.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. The cross-eyed glasses or the kind of weird, funky eyewear is quite hard to stomach. Weirdly enough, the colour version, I didn't mind them so much. I'm not sure why. Maybe I had less time to think about it. The TARDIS clearly sitting on little casters at one point.
Yeah.
Which was quite cute.
That was fun.
Lots of padding. Of padding.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a lot of fun. I mean, it's, Zoe, Jamie and Troughton are always such a great team.
Yeah.
And they've all got good moments. You got kind of Zoe sort of investigating the general's quarters. Good stuff. And then Jamie in the red coat and Jamie's clearly, he's grown in his time as the companion to not just go into a murderous rage at seeing the enemy, but
I can't fault the cast. The cast are great, apart from James Bree playing the security chief.
It's because he's best at room temperature.
Initially, he's also the keeper of the Matrix. And
an equally
Trial of
stellar and nuanced performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he brings out the worst in, I can't remember the actor's name who plays the other Time Lord.
Edward, I kept saying Breslow. Davey will want to fucking kill me for saying that again, because it's like Bernard's
brother.
But I can't remember the pronunciation, but
we
he
know
played Mr. Meeker in Rent-A-Ghost.
My God.
People of our age will definitely remember that one.
It just popped off in a Sid Rat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's Sid Rats.
Oh my God, it's a stupid name. It doesn't make no sense whatsoever, but hey ho. It's an evil TARDIS, therefore.
Absolutely. But I think the standout MVP or whatever the word is.
Do you mean MVP?
I just mean most.
Guest artist, let's call it.
Yeah.
MVP is most valuable player. It's like an American sports thing.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I mean, it's Philip Maddock.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I mean, obviously, you got the regular cast who are always great, but Philip Maddock is a breath of fresh air, like you said, because he's quiet most of the time, and he's so much more sinister.
Yeah, God, he has range. And plays things differently.
Yeah.
And surprises you, and is just
he's
so good compared with
playful with it.
Flatness
Sometimes
of the others.
Yeah. And he is Philip Maddock is a fucking great actor.
I don't think it's his best appearance in Doctor Who, but it's it's still amongst the company he keeps. It's great.
I mean, okay, I know Brain of Morbius is a great performance,
sure.
and
I like
Dalek
him in
Invasion of Earth.
I like him in Power of Crawl.
Power of Crawl as well. Yeah, no, I mean he is.
He's in the movie of.
That's what I said. Dalek Invasion. Well,
I mean that's
Dalek's
standout, but it's not
whatever.
main series. Yeah. But
he's
just so kind of sleazy and evil in that film. It's great.
No, he's great. He really is a much missed actor.
We love Philip Maddock.
I really do. Terrence Sticks and Malcolm Hulke kind of had an impossible task because they had 10 weeks to fill.
Yeah.
And, it was...
2 stories, guys.
Yeah, it was cheap though, so you needed the same sets, locations, blah blah blah.
Oh, they should have worked in space and Nerva beaconed it.
Yeah, but I think in general they'd done a good job.
So the BBC commissioned and released so that we would get on with watching the rest of it. The colour version of the War Games, which was released on the 23rd of December and was generally great fun, I would say. I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. Unlike the Daleks, I would watch it again because.
You mean the colour
I think
Daleks,
it looks good. It holds together quite well. The editing is slightly better, but the middle is a mess because it felt like I was watching an extended trailer.
That thought literally came to my head while I was watching it as well. Like, it's very trailery.
Yeah.
But also the intercutting, I think, was a really good technique to get all the plot in that you needed without having to sit through back-to-back 5-minute scenes.
True, but sometimes
it was a bit
like, what the
I think I was less bothered by that than you, but I definitely saw the pattern that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought the music also was a bit much here and there.
God,
I mean, less so than in
done with being turned down.
Yeah, again, I think it's like I thought about the Daleks. They were just getting very overexcited.
Yeah,
and there was one particular moment I remember where the music's kind of tempo and it's kind of upbeat nature and its kind of bombasticness just carried on far too long into a scene where it really needed to be calming down and let you take a breath.
Genuinely my biggest complaint of it is the music being just so fucking give it a rest.
Overbearing.
Because Davey said that, when he watched it, he literally couldn't fucking make out what was being said.
I had the subtitles on, but like the worst of Murray Gold all the time.
Yeah, except it wasn't Murray Gold. It was
I know.
Mark Ayres.
I know it was, but I mean, in terms of presence, and I'm not talking about what the music was.
Yeah, no.
I'm talking about the mix again.
Yeah.
It's just calm the fuck down.
I know.
Know when to back off a bit.
Why are you trying to make this into a new series?
Sometimes
type thing,
Yeah, sometimes
it really doesn't need to do that.
Sometimes it's hard to be you. Sometimes it felt like it was papering over a bit of a lull, and that's fine. It's just once it started, it didn't know when to back off again.
Well, especially when we sort of get Edward Breslow appearing, and they decide to just go mental and put in the Masters theme every 30 seconds. I mean, okay, I get it. It's a nice little fun joke, but holy fuck, the reaction online was fucking funnier. See, what got me is I was seeing more hatred towards when Breslow gets killed.
Is it Breslow, or you just settled into that?
I'm settling into it because I can't remember how to pronounce his name.
Fast forward, Davey.
Yeah. When he gets killed and the body is off screen, you start hearing a regeneration effect.
I missed that.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
He's a Time Lord.
Yeah.
So, but no, people are getting and I'm thinking, that's the bit that actually does make fucking sense. The Master thing, there's there is a lot of fans' speculation about that. As much as I was laughing about it, because I genuinely don't really care whether it is or it isn't. But somebody made a good point saying that it would be nice if we saw more renegade Time Lords than the Master, the Rani, and the monk or something, and making him into the Master just fucking shrinks the world a bit more.
I mean, there's arguments for and against, isn't there? Like the kind of transgression of leaving Gallifrey, which is the kind of core character feature of the Doctor in this sense, is weakened by every other person who does it, but also gets some imagination. Yeah. But I think it's quite plausible he could be the Master. And think about this.
It's plausible.
What do they do to keep the troops in line? They hypnotise them with their fluence vision. And who taught them that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Fair enough. I mean, but as I say, I don't honestly care. I just found it quite funny.
Well, it's the playfulness that they're having, isn't it? And good for them,
Yeah, as I say, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, say, putting Sacha Dhawan's Wanted poster
up in the Faceless ones. Yeah.
So
I wouldn't lose the original for a minute, but I struggled
a
little
little
back and forth in that. And
that's what I keep saying. We've got all of the Daleks. Somebody didn't stand with a can of petrol in a match and set fire to them. So calm down. Who gives a fuck?
So this rattled along nicely, and I generally adore what they added as well. Yeah. There were a few things felt a bit abrupt, like the sudden jump to the court-martial early on. Again, it's because I knew there was stuff missing in the middle, but I do not for one moment miss the constant escape and recapture of the middle of the story.
I think the thing we'd headed 15 minutes into it, we'd passed at least 3 episodes by then.
Yeah. So we had some new CG in the form of the kind of base with lots of little vehicles heading off to the different zones.
Thunderbirds, Tracy Island.
Quite cute. It took me a while to notice, but the kind of big door that we saw opening and closing from time to time had the same sort of arrow effect that the set did.
Oh, right.
Which was quite nice.
Okay.
I like that they shooped up the Sidrat in space as well.
Also, they got rid of the 2 scenes from the Web of Fear and Fury from the Deep, where the TARDIS is caught in a web, and basically just a model shot of the TARDIS, which I thought definitely works.
That's in the trial, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kept the wheel, though. They kept the wheel the same, which is fine.
I have a question. Is the is the redcoat that Jamie chases off after the end the same one that was in the barn?
Could be. I don't honestly know.
They're
I
weeks
just
apart,
think I just think it was nice of the Time Lords to, make sure Zoe and Jamie were safe by throwing Jamie straight into a bullet being fucking shot at him.
Yeah, it's like...
That would have been interesting if he was watching Jamie and then his head exploded.
Oh, God, yeah. No, it's interesting, sort of Troughton chuckles as if it's all a great shape that Jamie's about to fight for his life with an armed man. But yeah, it's all just part of the kind of cartooniness of Doctor Who sometimes. So we've got the Sidrats nicely realised wobbling through space. We've got the kind of extra effects, the sort of, the sonic... Were they sonic guns? They kind of felt like they might be sonic.
Slightly better effects.
Yeah.
The Time Lord's eyes,
glowing,
fiery.
That was
quite interesting.
Quite
very
brutal.
Sinister.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, especially given Maddox, like obviously suddenly in agony. It's
and the fact that they erased them from time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty horrific.
It's a weird relationship to the death penalty, isn't it? This super
yeah.
civilized race of enlightened
entire
beings.
Planet, sort of.
We don't want to torture you, but
but we're going to.
Oh my God, we're equipped to.
Yeah, no, I mean, there is genuinely a lot of good things. I noticed they cut out the second escape attempt.
Yes,
with the Time Lords, which, to be honest, was
padding again,
pointless.
And then running through all the bubbling pools of was so. Yeah, Gallifrey looks exactly like the war base, except they've got kind of a bunch of like dry ice going on for some reason.
I think it looks like Brent Cross Shopping Centre.
I thought it was the legally mandated last appearance of the smoke machine, but there was no foam, so I guess that was missing. But yeah, no, and then of course I had not been aware at all that this existed, but there is a kind of fairly extensive regeneration sequence with Troughton turning into Pertwee in the TARDIS, which is going to wreck up my idea of whose last words were what now. Because Troughton gets another line after "You're making me giddy." And it dovetails straight into, of course, the top of Spearhead from Space. And as you pointed out, as the TARDIS is hurtling towards Earth, you see...
the asteroids and stuff.
The Nestine balls.
Yeah.
An order of Nestine balls with noodles, please.
Yeah. The other thing is that they kind of cleaned that bit up with the TARDIS landing because they pan away, and then, they pan towards, and it's starting to materialise instead of that crappy looking effect that they had before.
Just a whump, didn't it?
Yeah. The regeneration was filmed many, many years ago as a fan project
with John Pertwee.
Pertwee.
Gosh, I don't know.
But I, if I remember right, he was in his cloak or something. But the person playing Troughton in that scene was like a fan, an actor, but who, did look quite like Troughton.
Yep.
So the thing ran very similar to the way it was on screen, but the fan that made that is the one that did the version that's on the War Games as well.
That's nice.
So
yeah, well, gosh, talk
it's
about
like
a long time before your dream comes true.
yeah, it's like the guy who did the title sequence.
Like the Capaldi ones.
Yeah, had done more or less.
Yeah.
So it just shows you.
Saying there's
plenty
hope
of talented people.
There's hope for Dacia being made by the BBC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as long as they take my edit of it.
Dacia is a fan film that Jazz and I were involved in longer ago than we care to remember, and if it ever sees the light of day, then I think Ritual Suicide is probably our choice.
Yeah.
I'll hold out some hope for Deconstruction. Another fan film I was involved in. And I think this is exactly the right place for all these little indulgences to happen, and something that's a sidestep from the canon, but also is edited down to make it more accessible to a modern audience, and hopefully we'll bring people to the classic series.
Yeah.
And boy, what a shock they're in for when they think, wow, I'll watch the full version.
Yeah. C. Davy was he made some really good points about...
He was wrong.
Agree to disagree.
No, I hate that phrase.
I don't care because, people are passionate about different things.
Yes.
And you know,
And have different
you can't
priorities.
dismiss one opinion over the other unless it's a fact and a stated fact, like someone says.
I just hate agree to
the
disagree
Earth
because
is-
it's giving ground to
the
something
Earth
that
is
matters
flat
sometimes.
or something.
Whereas
you know,
this doesn't
bullshit
matter.
like that. But Davey, ironically, said he liked it. He thought it was really good, but he also says that the 10-part version, if it's not the original people involved, it shouldn't really be done because you don't know exactly what their intention would have been.
I see that argument.
And that's fair enough. You
I've
know,
said
I mean,
similar
we did
things-
have a bit of a back
Yeah.
and forth. And I know we didn't agree, but I thought that's fair enough. I personally think the 10 parts version's there. This one's there for... It's not really made for me or you. It's made for younger fans who, you know, may discover it more and kind of, you know...
Can open the door to glorious things.
Yeah, and that's fine.
I've made similar kind of arguments maybe about like the animations where I've talked about not wanting them to take too much artistic license.
Oh, no.
You know,
yeah.
but to kind of certainly not like let's completely redesign the sets or something when you've got some references to what they were on TV.
Yeah,
But
I mean...
no, I think David makes a good point, but it's also the case that these two exist side by side, not one instead of the other.
Yeah.
So take your pick.
I think I agree with to a point with the animations, because say something like Underwater Menace, which is very different from how it was on television.
Right, I haven't seen that. Actually.
That's fair enough, but I think when you haven't got the originals, it would be nice to be able to see it as it was intended. But
Well, for sure. 'cause
again,
that's my principle.
that's not
here.
always
Not always possible.
Yeah.
So there's a certain amount of guesswork involved. There's conflicting needs when you're trying to make it accessible to an audience and recreate a historical thing. And I think maybe sometimes, especially if it's a recreation like the animations are, rather than an alternative like the War Games is, then if it's recreating it, then I feel like
strive to
do what your best
think-
guess as to what was done.
I think in general, you know, most of them do work. You do get the occasional one that you think, oh, for goodness sake, you know, calm it down or whatever. But I still think that they are a very good and valid way of, you know, reconstructing old episodes. I admit I haven't watched them all because I'll probably wait till they're on the box sets or something before I watch them. But the ones I have seen, apart from maybe Abominable Snowman, I've enjoyed. Abominable Snowman just was... It's really interesting because it just feels plodding with the animation, yet when you watch the actual episode, you know, it's a really nice pace to it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the sort of slightly middle ground to the whole debate is that you could argue that if you faithfully recreated exactly what would have been on the screen in animation, somehow it's because it's animation rather than real actors, somehow something is lost. And so
Of course.
a bit of license to zhoosh it up a little, almost in compensation, is definitely justified, I would say. But at the same time, it's a detail like having an in-joke in a poster on the wall is that's not an artistic licensing, that's an Easter egg.
Just
Talking of, we didn't mention that when Troughton's shown his potential new faces, we get that was fun.
That was another complained about thing.
Why?
Just
like-
fans are fans.
They looked a bit too photographic in a funny way.
Yeah, because we were discussing it before it happened, and Connor was saying, "Do you think he'll put Tom Baker?" I said, "Nah, I think he'll put new series." I sort of just thought that was going to happen
Another
anyway.
link, yeah.
But he pointed out that was fine, but why did they all have their own props? You know,
They were
like,
that's what
if
it
you
was.
turn into him, you'll have
You get this toy.
that.
It's like choose your action figure. It comes with this, but no, it's
It's a bit fucking
that's exactly the problem
weird.
I had with it. They felt too much like publicity photos.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, the kind of full torso thing was a bit odd. Because I think was the original one a series of faces?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, when I give the word, press the button. The big one? Yes, maybe it works in conjunction with the others.
Shall we choose another episode?
Yes.
Okay, I'm firing up the randomizer. Any requests? I ask this. As
Yeah,
a
sure. Frontiers.
Frontiers, okay. You God, imagine if it is. Here we go.
All right, well, let's try and find out. Now, what could it be?
Oh, great. Terror of the Autons.
Oh,
That's exciting.
handy.
Yeah.
Pity it wasn't Spearhead. We could have-
That would have been,
Yeah.
just the randomizer gives us them all in sequence. That'd
Yeah.
be nice.
Terror of the Auton, and it's on the collection
Well,
as
we can
well.
compare the performance of Delgado with the guy in the War Games and see what we think.
Yeah, I think it'll be neck and neck, definitely.
So there's some sort
That's
of
good.
neck.
Nice four-parter and a Pertwee.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
Pertwee for a one.
Delgado, we get Katie Manning.
Yeah, Brig. Yeah,
The Brig, yeah.
Brig.
I thought you said Greg.
Captain Yates as well. It's his first one.
Uh-huh. There's Benton in it.
Yeah.
I like Ben.
Somebody has to.
He's like a great big puppy dog. Okay, brilliant.
Very
Well, we will
low
watch
intelligence
Terror of the Autons.
A report.
We found and destroyed the enemy.
Any complications?
No complications.
So while we have the randomizer fired up, we'll do a little bit of no complications, which celebrates everything that's quirky and lovable in Doctor Who, albeit successful on screen or not. So I'll choose a random story and we'll quickly say something that brings us joy about it. Greatest show in the galaxy.
Oh, you're just an aging hippie professor. Oh, yeah. The bus conductor,
Creepy clowns.
creepy clowns,
The explosion and Sylvester walking away from the explosion.
yeah,
That's so cool.
and the gods, imaginary gods.
The Ark.
The Ark. Oh, the kitchen.
The security kitchen.
Security kitchen. What the fuck is a security kitchen?
I like the elephant.
Yeah.
Here's another.
Security.
Oh, Flux, Chapter 5, Survivors of the Flux. I'm struggling to remember what happened in Chapter 5. It was very much it's not quite the end yet.
I can't think of that episode because
No, it's sort of blurred into the last few.
I
isn't
think
it?
the best thing for me in Flux was Jodie turning into an angel. That's got to be one of the greatest cliffhangers
Yeah,
in
that was
Doctor
proper
Who.
good. Okay, next. Happiness Patrol.
Oh God! Just watched that the other day with Dave and Izzy.
I still haven't watched the new version.
Well, the story's still the same, and I love the scene with the, on the rooftop
With the sniper, yeah, that's the McCoy's defining Doctor speech.
McCoy's great.
I love the
when he-
Candyman.
Yeah, he's brilliant. The Candyman's fantastic.
I love
And
the pink
Still
TARDIS.
don't know how the fuck they thought they were getting away with
No,
it.
they didn't,
but
did they? All right, let's do one last one. Nightmare in Silver.
The battle, the mind
Sort of
battle
internal battle.
between the two.
It's very well played.
Really
yeah.
good. Like
yeah,
that.
and Warwick Davis is always great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
So, yeah, that was our No Complications. So, thank you, and a big shout out to our favourite Ogron, Grantley, who is on Blue Sky. Hooray!
I accept your challenge. Oh, you do you?
So, it's challenge time, and I've asked Jazz to watch The Mutants, which he's never seen before, and after he's watched that, I will get a challenge of my own. Finally. So, mate, we've had quite a few months. Have you watched it?
Yeah,
You watched it?
watched it.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh.
Technically.
Did you say technically?
No. Never say that.
All right, you need to convince me.
Okay. So, as you know, I don't have a copy of it, and for some reason my iPlayer isn't working.
So your iPlayer isn't working properly.
No, I'm afraid not. So I thought, right, YouTube,
Yes,
no
clever.
problem.
Clever.
So sat down, cup of tea, slice of cake, whatever.
What sort of cake? I just want to get to the really important parts of this.
Madeira.
Right, yeah, great.
But it was Madeira, but I had some separate walnuts.
Oh, okay. Good. Well, I feel that's the kind of in-depth analysis that we've been waiting for all this time. So
So there you go.
great. And what happened when you watched it?
Oh, right, yeah. So I was sort of setting up YouTube, and I sort of hovered my mouse over it, and I sort of got distracted by something. But when I looked back, it said that I'd watched it. So I can only assume maybe there was a silence sitting in front of the TV that made me, But I have watched it, technically.
Oh my fucking god. Okay.
I mean, I have subsequently found out that if you slightly hover your mouse pointer over a thumbnail in YouTube, that it plays, like, say, the first minute or so, but that technically counts as a watch. So maybe that happened, but I don't think so. I think I just watched it, but it was sort of wiped from my memory. So, yeah.
Well, kind of the whole point is that you remember it and tell us about it.
But that's not my fault. If I've done the work...
I totally agree. You're not at all spurious alien monster wiping it from your mind thing is entirely understandable.
I've done the work. Why should I be penalised?
The problem is, let's say that your work was to build a castle, and you built the castle, but it fell down. Then
You'd rebuild the castle.
Exactly.
I mean,
so you have to rewatch the
I did
mutants.
do that once.
You built a castle.
I built a castle. Well, my father sort of was very uncomplimentary about me, so I built a castle. It was marshland, but I built it. It sunk. So I built it again, and it sunk again. I built it a third time. It went on fire. Mm-hmm. And then I built it a fourth time, and it's got slight subsidence, but it's standing.
Great.
And my father fell off the parapet into the swamp and died.
Wow.
So, win-win.
So, the moral of the story is you're going to watch the fucking mutants again.
No, the moral of the story is that you have persevered and you have a reward at the end.
Exactly.
And I have persevered.
I'll make you a deal. When you've watched the mutants, even if you have to build it on a swamp, I will personally hurl myself off the parapet.
Well, wouldn't it be better watching The Power of Crawl?
Yeah, let's do that instead.
Okay.
All right.
There are some corners of the universe which have bred the most terrible things. Things which act against everything that we believe in. They must be watched.
So, this part of the show is Most Terrible Things, which is not to be confused, please, with Moist Terrible Things. It's where we ask you, our dear listeners, to send us suggestions for so bad it's good sort of TV or film to watch. Our old pal Ali Mills has been in touch and is starting us off with a corker, which was Plan 9 from Outer Space. Now, I'd never seen it before, but it's fair to say its reputation precedes it, so I was totally excited to watch it.
And then you watched it.
And then I watched it. It's obviously pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But
also,
is it worse than the Faceless Ones?
Can I just ask, by the way, is that... Because that was Moist Terrible Things was the name we gave to your underwear, wasn't it?
Yes.
It's absolutely awful, but it's entertaining.
It's genius as well.
So I'd say it was better than the Faceless Ones, because the Faceless Ones is awful. And
did you accidentally call it the Paceless Ones?
Faceless Ones,
That's
yeah.
pretty good. You didn't even mean that, did you? Yeah, because the aliens are in both are incredibly smug and convinced of their superiority, but also utterly incompetent.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, I
Yeah,
dropped my gun
totally.
and he's attacking you. What a terrible accident.
Yeah. It's such a bizarre story. The story of Ed Wood is bizarre, and I do not have time to go into it here. But it's like Eddie the Eagle Edwards. You know, he's pretty hopeless at what he does,
Endearingly
but
so.
you admire his
Yeah.
tenacity and his,
There was a thing called the Book of Heroic Failures. Which
Yeah.
I think it was written by the founder of the Not Terribly Good Club of Great Britain, and it was all sorts of stories like that. But then the book became a bestseller, so he had to resign.
Brilliant. I love that.
Yeah.
I really do.
That's a nice celebration of mediocrity, which
Yeah.
I truly connect with.
I mean, this one, it's actually, it's got Bela Lugosi, who died halfway through filming, so they got a stand-in that was about a foot taller and had blonde hair.
Wow.
But kept his cape raised so you couldn't see his face, which is just absolutely fucking bonkers.
That's the best adaptation in Crisis since they had to like not show Travis's face at the end of Orak in Blake 7.
Yeah. Also, it's fantastic the way they keep going to investigate things over the course of a couple of minute car ride, and it goes night, day, night, day, night, day.
Sure, it's not just streetlights passing.
The performances are fucking terrible. They had the actor, not the actor, the wrestler, Tor Johnson, playing the chief of police, who sort of dies and becomes a zombie.
Right.
Thankfully, when he becomes a zombie, the acting level is the way you would expect it. When he's actually got words, yeah, it's not pretty.
The title intrigued me because I don't think they ever lay out what the plans 1 to 8 were. So I thought I'd work it out for us.
Well, actually, there is a reason for that.
What's that then?
Because, well, it was adapted as an Inside Number 9.
Oh god. Right. So I reckon plan 1 would have been Peaceful Contact, and plan 2 is announce their existence to the world with a major, and I mean major, leafleting campaign. Plan 3 is kidnapping cows, clearly. Plan 4, kidnap humans. Plan 5, gold rings. Plan 6, land the saucer in a fairground and pretend to look for long lost relatives. Plan 7, return the cows. Plan 8, bring back famous dead people, a la Glenn Miller, and so on. And Plan 9 is bring back any dead people. So that's how we get there, I think.
Well, I looked at it as a sort of precursor to Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Should be Close Encounters of the 10th kind, really.
No, because it's going down until we have.
So we've got 87654 to...
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
fair enough. Well, I mean, it's our terribly insightful and in-depth review of it, apart from just to say it was absolutely the sort of thing we were looking for. So.
Oh yeah, I mean it's sort of it's up there with things like Sharknado and just stuff that you think, I can't believe someone got money for this. Snakes on a Plane is fucking awesome.
There's got to be a subgenre of ones they thought of the title first.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Sharknado. That's enough of that. So please send us some more. randomizerpodcast@gmail.com and inflict on us the most so bad it's good stuff you can think of.
In my box are such delights.
So this is Box of Delights, where we have a box full of old TV and films that I've seen some of and Chaz has seen most of, but in some way we wanted to watch them again. So we selected last time Jekyll, the Stephen Moffat's reimagining of Jekyll and Hyde. So it's weird because obviously I like Stephen Moffat's work, but I'd not watched this, and I think part of that is because I'm not a big fan of it. It starred Jimmy Nesbitt.
Oh, don't we know?
Yeah, because we're not talking David Jason levels of hatred. I think he's a perfectly decent actor. He just I don't know, rubs me up the wrong way or something. But anyway, let's put that to one side and talk about the story. So, did you watch it at the time on broadcast?
Oh yeah,
because I only saw it recently for this.
No, I remember watching it and holding out hope of a second series, but never emerged. But generally, it's I suppose it's not necessarily as good as his Dracula adaptation.
No, nowhere near.
But it's an interesting thing because he's going back to the classics with Sherlock, Jekyll,
Dracula.
So, it's certainly in the wheelhouse. And it's a very interesting way of telling the story because obviously it's set mostly in modern day, but the story does originate in Louis Stevenson's time. So you have got quite a good juxtaposition. And the twists and turns are very interesting, especially when it comes to his wife and so on, and his mother even. I like the way it's sort of digitized his powers.
Digitized?
Oh, I've got video rewind, all these things. And his, you know, like when he changes and he can like totally remember what happens. So he kind of rewinds it in his mind and so on. Do you not remember that?
No.
Because it has been a while.
I watched the first episode some time ago, but I've watched it all recently. So I found it a bit of a struggle. But I found the cast generally very good, except for my strange antipathy towards Nesbitt.
But you did have the bonus of Gia Bellman.
So Gina Bellman and Michelle Ryan are both very good, and Gina Bellman, known love from Coupling, of course. And Michelle Ryan was in Planet of the Dead with David Tennant.
And EastEnders.
I don't watch EastEnders.
No, I know.
She's the one who's at the heart of the famous "You're Not My Mother." Oh, yes, I am.
Yeah. But she was also the Bionic Woman.
Okay.
in the sort of remake, and I
thought
that was quite fun. It surprised the hell out of me because it was so weird because she was so well known as
in EastEnders,
just a soap star or such. Yeah. So. And that had Katie Sackhoff in it as well.
Oh, right. Well, sci-fi, wasn't it, in America? Yeah. That's legally obliged to. The I thought her character sort of fizzled a bit towards the end. It sort of seemed like she'd run her course, and they had this goodbye scene. And
she was the psychologist, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I mean...
It felt like a plot line that didn't quite resolve.
I think, there was characters that were there, but then they didn't really become that important. Because at the start it had Patterson Joseph, and he was. He was playing a very sleazy sort of thing. But
love to hate him.
But I thought we'll probably see him, but no, we didn't. The one of the bits I really loved was James Nesbitt Jekyll had went to town on one of the organisation's heavies, and he brings them into the hospital in like a pair of curtains wrapped up, holding it, just walking along, and he gets to the reception or the garden. He says, "What have you got there?" He said, "I'd say front of the queue." And drops them, and the guy's just been...
That's Hyde, not Jekyll, right?
No, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry, I always get them mixed up.
Yeah. That's actually interesting because the last episode is called Hyde. Because they're all basically Jekyll, part 1, 2, 3, 4,
Dennis Lawson, of course, great actor.
Yeah.
So there's a thing, very interesting, that there's a sort of conversation through the TV between Jekyll and Hyde, which prefigures Blink in many ways, I think.
Yeah.
Was this done before Blink? So one thing it's definitely after is the TV movie, because he nicks the thing of pointing the gun at himself.
Yeah.
Which, again, clever way of an unexpected way. The other big thought I had was it's really nice to see Superhands get some gainful employment.
Yes.
That actor from Peep Show is one of the spooks.
Actually, it's interesting. I've seen him in a few things
now.
But he was really good in that.
I struggled a bit to get past him, knowing him Superhands.
It is very difficult because he's
like a straight
so
roll.
known for that.
And it's like you can expect him to nip off the back for a joint or something. But oh dear, I'm not sure why I'm not a fan of James Nesbitt. I find his performance as Hyde schlocky and too over the top, and obviously it's meant to be over the top and in contrast. But
I mean, it's like that first episode when he's going, "Oh come on, let's play lions,"
and it's kind of I didn't know. It just lands wrong for me, but it's not just based on this show. I didn't enjoy Cold Feet and stuff like that.
I love Cold Feet.
Yeah, I mean, I should give it a chance.
It is a really good, and it's a very sort of relevant to our age.
For sure.
But I think it's like anything else. We've all got actors we really like, and there are some that we just, no matter if they're good actors or not, we just don't particularly like them.
Yeah. I think it's that thing of, I always had this sort of slight existential dread when they would float his name as a possible Doctor, and because of the Moffat Association, I think.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh no. But that would be an interesting thought experiment of which actor would ruin Doctor Who for me, or which plausible actor, I suppose, because you could just sort of go Ken Dodd and be done with it. But
or what was it, Paul Daniels?
Paul Daniels, Jesus.
Yeah, remember?
No, I think I'd like him. Not a lot.
Paul Daniels.
Come on.
Fuck off. I think we should end it all now.
Okay. Well, I don't actually have much else to say about Jekyll. I did have fun. I think it's been more part of the general tumultuousness of my life for the last 6 months that has meant it was hard to get through.
I still think it's got legs as a series. The same way I thought it would be, another season of Dracula would have been really interesting. And I think it still could have. Even with the ending, it still could have happened because you could investigate the company that the same with Jekyll, because there is similarities with them both.
Did they want another series of Dracula?
I think he did, but I don't think the BBC.
Well, the people who had the money didn't. But,
but I mean, they really were big with that because it was like the main thing on New Year's Day. And I think it was over 3 days or something. Bit similar to the way they did the Sherlocks. Like if you had, say, what would normally be a 4-part hour and a half, that got broadcast as a movie
back to back. Yeah.
And I think that was a good way, for it to work.
So the TV's shape was changing a bit, and Moffat was there to write things in funny shapes.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Russell T Davies brought back Doctor Who and made Saturday evening a drama slot for a while, and you even got ITV doing dramas. It's reverted back to the light entertainment stuff, but
arguably so is Doctor Who.
Well, that's very true in some ways. But
don't write in. I don't really mean it.
Fuck.
Write in.
He really means it. He said to me the other day, "It's gone too woke."
I did not.
He did.
And I said you'd gone too woke when you didn't fall asleep during an episode.
Yeah, true.
Shall we choose another Box of Delights thing?
If you want to.
Oh God, don't sulk. Okay, I got the box. Shaking. Oh, okay, here we go. It's exciting. It's been so damn long. Children of the Stone.
Oh, fantastic.
At last we can watch Bianca Jagger's life story. I've made that joke before.
Yeah.
And you didn't get it. Cool. Yeah, that is
that's
old
really
children's
good.
sort of sci-fi drama.
Yeah. Even though it's children's TV, this one really resonated.
Was this like 70s when
they
didn't mind
had
scaring children?
Balls. Yeah.
It's the end. But the moment has been prepared for.
9 times out of 10.
So thank you for listening. Oh, I don't have a thing to say.
So thank you for listening, and if you are at war between the land and the sea, drop us a line.
We can be reached by email at randomizerpodcast@gmail.com. You can listen to us on YouTube watching trippy visuals at tinyurl.com/randomizeryoutube, or follow us on Blue Sky at randomizerpod.bsky.social. And in all cases,
it is randomizer with an S, not a Z.
That was perfect. I'd take back some of the things I said about you.
You should keep this button.
Well, I will. You got it right.
Shit. Oh. Right.
Did you not mean to? Were you trying to get it wrong and accidentally got it right?
I'm always sort of normally trying to get it wrong, but I sort of didn't think.
Normally succeeding. No, just write to us, please. We're desperate.
He voted Brexit.
Fuck off. Slander.
And Tory.
Jesus, I'm cutting all of this shit.
No, I think
besmirching my good name.
I think you should keep it because you always cut out all the stuff that makes you look bad and add extra sometimes to make me look fucking terrible. Like you did with your little voiceover insert.
I've got so much to choose from that makes you look terrible.